Well, when I was thinking about yesterday,
Yeah.
I was thinking, okay, so what am I supposed to do? And so, like any good student, I went back to the site, and then I found the last week and looked at that, and then I found Jen Horn's presentation, and she had stuff on hers, and I went, oh, I'm going to change mine a little bit because I like what she had. So I was playing around with it. I do this anyway with mine. I have either different colors or different shapes of the buttons. Well, there's that, but then you have to remember the color. But that's part of the issue, too, that I want to talk about. So anyway, what I'm going to do is share with you this course that I have revised and I think revitalized, actually. This is Nursing 603, which is Theoretical Foundations of Advanced Practice Nursing. And it is one of the core classes in the master's program, in the master's nursing program. It's usually either the first or second graduate course that a student takes. So because of its placement, not only am I teaching them about the content of theory, nursing theory, but I'm also hopefully socializing them into the role of not only graduate student, but how all of this connects to being an advanced practice registered nurse. Our program, if they do it part-time, is I think 3 years, and so they're going to take this class and take it way before they actually graduate. But in my mind, this actually sets the whole foundation for their practice, not only as a student, but then as an advanced practice nurse. So throughout the time of revising this, what I tried to do, and I think I did it pretty well, because I have felt for as long as I have been doing online teaching and being involved with an online perspective, is that I truly am an immigrant, that this is not native to me. I have to stop and think about what it is that I'm looking at. What does it mean? How do I go from here? And so when I was looking at this course, I was looking at it hopefully through a student's eyes. My assessment, my understanding is that, and somebody just said this last week, the students are not tech savvy. They are tech dependent. So when I figured that out, and I got that because of the questions kids would ask about this and about that. It's like, what do you mean? Why are you asking me that question? You should know that. They don't know it technology-wise. And so also, and I learned this from instructional help before, I am not the instructional guru. And so if there's any question that has to do with IT stuff, I say you need to send a ticket to IT. I am not answering that question. So I tried to look at this through the eyes of a student, and also with the thinking of I want to have very few clicks. That if you're going to come into this class, you're going to click once, twice, 3 times max to get to wherever I want it is I want you to go to. I also want to, Laura, are you hearing this? I want to call out my huge appreciation and accolades to Larissa, because you have been absolutely awesome in not teaching, but also in validating, as I have said things to you as a teacher would. So, I remember one time saying to her, so do you think this is too much for a graduate student? Well, she's been a graduate student. You were an online graduate student. And then you would say, no, I don't think it's too much. It was wonderful validation for me. So that was great. And I just want to tell you how much I appreciate your instructional design. So again, what I do is have a welcome start here, so that they know, they click on this, they open it up, and it says right there, start here. One of the things that I've learned, my course highlights and reflection might be interspersed here, so I don't forget my reflection, is that one of the things that I learned was this cool division, these lines, because what it did was actually categorize the course in a way that made it much more eye-appealing. So when they open it up, it says, welcome, start here, introduction to the course. They can go right to clicking on those and start whatever it is they have to do. The announcements, as you said, once that starts, then the announcements will pop up as the homepage. In the syllabus, we have several things. And some of this I just have to get with the program, that some of the things I have done over the last, I've taught this class since I've been here, so I've taught it 6 or 7 years, and always online. And it's had a variety of iterations. And so now I'm thinking it really has my stamp on it. One of the things that I added this year was to have a reading list. The reading list would be those things that I actually had in the course calendar, which in trying to make it be much more streamlined and really visibly appealing, all parts of it, would take those articles that were in the calendar out and put them in the reading list. And so that way it's put together in one place there. We also have an MSN handbook. We have a handbook for students. At the College of Nursing and Health Professions, we have the handbook for the students, we have the handbook for the faculty, and then we have a college handbook. And you had better know all of those rules, which of course you don't know until you break one. And so at this level, we always have all of our MSN courses have the MSN handbook, so that it really is a way that students can also refer back to how to maneuver through the class and through the program. We've developed the program, the class into 4 modules. This has been very interesting to me because in doing that first assignment that we did in the course of OCDP, of course mapping, which was a new concept. I've heard about that before. I talked to a colleague who had taken the course before about it. I thought it was really cool what she was able to do, and then I realized that she learned that here. This is another reflection. In the course of doing that, what I found was the 7 objectives that I had for the course, which had been done from a course revision 4 years ago or so. I looked at those and I went, I don't do that. I don't have that content. So because I'm in charge of this particular course, I deleted 3 course objectives and then developed these module learning objectives to actually correspond with each of those. That is a huge learning that I got from this particular class. So the modules, I'll show you the first one, but I want to highlight the second one in particular because I'm going to do something different. This course, as I developed it over time, is a writing intensive course because my philosophy is that students in their ability to write really are systematically learning how to think. And this is part of the process of becoming an advanced practice nurse, is being able to systematically think a particular issue all the way through, step by step, to get to the point of whatever it is you're going to do for safe care of your patient. So in doing a course module here, what we did, and this is another learning as well, this is the first module. And I added an extra week. The first week is actually going to be introduction to the course. There just seemed to me to be something that was missing. If this was the first online course that a student took, I was assuming a whole lot of things that they were supposed to know. Nobody has ever complained about it. Nobody ever said, you know, I don't know what you're talking about, but I've always gotten teaching evaluations that say, Dr. Bonham wasn't clear. I think I'm clear. This is going to be even clearer because from the get-go, it's talking about the introduction to the course, introduction to graduate school, where this is within the context of the graduate program. They do a self-introduction of themselves, and I don't do a webcam, but I have them upload a photograph so I can see that photograph. And it's really fun because some of them their weddings in the last year, or with their family at Christmas time or whatever. So that also adds some sense of community, which has been something I have always struggled with, I've always strived for, is to have an online community that could be just as vibrant and as exciting as any in-face class is that I've taught. So in this particular first module, they're introduced to the course. They're introduced to the course as it relates to online learning, and then into the course content, which is theories and so forth. They also have a lot of resources that I give them, because these are things that when I take it back to being an APRN, you can't possibly know everything, but you need to know what the resources are, and you need to know how to get those resources to patients. And so we're going to take the APA resources that they have, the library resources, and so forth. This particular module, then, they do their self-introduction, they do a discussion board posting, and a cross-posting to each other. They do their first paper assignment, and then do a takeaway. This particular takeaway is a new technology that I'm using for the first time in this class, and that is they're going to do a takeaway per module at the end of each module, 4 modules of takeaway, and it says, this is what I learned in this particular module as it relates to smooth learning. So what happens then is I close the loop. What I also will have 4 different times is formative evaluation data. So I will be able to see what it is that they have learned and how that compares to what was on one number. So the one I really want to, so what we did, I'll have the course calendar, as it looks out at them, and they can see that for the first module. And then there's the introduction to the course. There's the philosophy of nursing. This is the second course. These are the assignments and so forth within each week, so that this is, they do the lecture, they do their readings, and review the APA and library resources for this one. What I want to show you is actually Module 2. This particular course, when I redesigned it and had it into this model that was working pretty much so, was 4 papers and 4 discussion boards, which started to get kind of flat. The 4 papers, though, are really hard work to do when you teach 3 classes. This semester has been a real hoot, because I've had 2 sections of 603. So that means 50 papers coming in every month. And I give a lot of feedback, because this is the first time they're in school. I believe, as part of my teaching philosophy, that it is my job to be teaching them how it is that you are to be an advanced practice nurse, how it is you are to be a graduate student. So how it is you are to talk, how it is you are to talk to each other, how it is that you are supposed to be able to find evidence and be able to put that evidence in a cogent fashion so that you can explain it to me, your colleague, a patient. Those are all part of the things that I'm trying to teach them behind the scenes. So one of the things that I really was struggling with was all those papers. And I also was getting feedback from students about, I really like the discussion boards for the interaction. And I thought, wow, I feel like the discussion boards for the interaction, we need to find something even better, because those are pretty darn flat in my mind. So what we've done is taken away one of those papers and actually made a group activity. I'm going to go to assignments. So they have assignment 1, 3, and 4 are their papers, but assignment 2 is going to be a group activity. I've never done a group activity in this course. I've done group activity in another course, which has worked fine, and we've got that down to a fine science as well. But this one, we're going to be learning all of us at the same time. What I have also done is developed, because this is a group activity, I developed the 5 groups that I want them to select from. Those 5 groups are nursing theorists that most students never select. So they will be using, particularly working still in the rubric, doing that particular presentation together on VoiceThread about the theory, describing the theory, the theorist, the level and scope of the theory, the assumptions of the theory, and then analyzing and evaluating the theory based on a particular model that does that kind of thing. So they will be doing this, in my mind, is kind of like a parallel process. They're going to be learning this content as it relates to the theorist, but they're going to be putting it together in a group format, communicating with each other, putting it into VoiceThread, and then each student will be responding to that. And we'll see all that on VoiceThread. So again, I'll be able to see as people are responding as well. So this is going to be a kind of an interesting assignment. But what we've done, what Melissa has done, is we've got the assignment, and then there's step 1, like you said, step 1, step 2, step 3. So they sign up first for the group, then they're going to communicate, find the best way to communicate, best times too, because our students are all over the country. And then they're going to pick their theorist group that they want to study, and then they're going to put together their assignment and then upload it to VoiceThread.
Let's just use this as our example.
Yeah. Here's Rick. And that's the end of that step. So anyway, this particular, I'm interested, as you said, Christina, I'm really interested to see how this will work, because I think it's a ton of work. But it's a group activity which will force them to work with each other. Our feedback over time has been in the other class, I don't understand why you have to work in a group. I don't want to like this group. Or in this class, I don't understand why I have to take theory. It has nothing to do with the fact that I want to be an FMP. Well, it has everything to do with that. And so they work in groups. I mean, none of us work by ourselves. And so if you can do it online, I think you could do it anywhere. Then in addition, what we have are we have this, and then we have the assignments, so that all the assignments are in one place. One of the things that I learned that I think I kind of knew, but I never really implemented before, was you can have your assignment, and you've got all your instructions here, but then this is also the same place to submit it. So it's just one click. We also have discussions. There'll be a couple of discussion boards. So in essence, what I think is really important about this class is it is designed so that it really captivates however people learn. So you can do it through a group activity, you can do it through singularly and by yourself through a paper, as well as doing it through a discussion board. So they have a lot of different technological ways to learn in this particular class. And then, of course, we've got the groups that they sign up for here, and then the takeaways. The takeaways, the group activity and the takeaways are via Wiki are two of the main differences in my mind for how we have redesigned this course. And the Wiki, I think, will be a really fascinating way to be able to see students learning, but also for them to see what their peers are learning. One of the things that they have to do with their third assignment is a peer review of that paper. So that's another skill that I believe they need to learn, and they're going to be learning it within an educational context to be able to give feedback. So that's the number one. Number two, in looking at the perspective on online learning, like I said, this is just a ton of work. It's just a ton of work. And it's not just a ton of work to put it together, but when you think about designing a course, I have never had a curriculum development course, educational course. My work in teaching and in putting together a course has all been on-the-job training. And to find a way to actually design a course with with pedagogy in mind has been a real eye-opening experience for me. Another piece that I have learned in doing this is that because there is so much of that, because I can be very formal, I can be pretty informal, that one of the things that I have found is that in being explanatory to students is what I've started noticing even this semester is that my responses to students are, I think, a lot softer than they've ever been before. They're not nearly as stilted as what the written word can come across. So we'll see how that works out as well. I think also that some of what I've learned in this class taught me that what I have been doing in my other courses is right on target. That I really have been very, very concerned about online community, and that I've worked to create that technologically. I think now I have different ways of using technology in order to do that, which I didn't have before. So that's terrific. And my final thoughts about OCDP are the same as you said, Christina. It is a ton of work. It's a class to take when it's not a busy semester. I started with my colleague, Dr. Wana Papastu Sandhu, a new process this particular semester, a new faculty learning community, and to do both of those at the same time, as well as doing my teaching, as well as working with IRB. I thought, what am I thinking of, So I need to, if anybody does it, they need to make sure that they've got the time to do it, because it's time intensive. It's a lot to think about. But I think it's been an absolutely tremendous experience. And I think one of the things, there's nothing I really dislike about it. It was just what I needed. I wish I had had this 7 years ago, because I think my teaching would be far better, far different. But the main like is that it was also collegial. That, if I wasn't really well prepared, didn't have everything done for the time that I met with Marissa, it was like, oh, okay, we'll just do it now. There was this very tremendous flexibility and adaptability, which is pretty much how I operate with my students too. When they call or when they write and say, I can't make that assignment, okay, when can you? Everybody's adults. So there's that thing. I really appreciate being treated like an adult. And I think that's it.
Any questions for Beth? Questions, comments?
I agree with her that, like she said, she had done several years ago. You reflect yourself working here and how you communicate.
Right. I think one of the things that distresses me the most about the academic setting is that once you step foot into the academic setting, there's this assumption that you know everything you're supposed to know. The faculty know what they're supposed to know. Students are supposed to know what they know. And I know I have continually stepped back. And when I hear people moan about a student or whatever's happening, I'm going, wait a minute. Isn't that why they're here? They don't know that. Well, there wasn't any question about whether I would teach online or not. That was just a given. That was just a norm. We've had our online master's program for 15 years at the college. So that wasn't even an option. And if you wanted to learn things, you kind of learned it on your own. So my suggestion would be that something like this, or some iteration of it, be required for people who are teaching.
I think it's a good investment as a faculty development.
Right.
And I mean, I think
Right.
he would be a version, because not everybody can do it, but that would be a discussion I think the office should have, is what are the basics that someone, you may not have time to do the objectives, but there are little things you can do. I mean, it's so simple, like the lines. I know it's stupid, but there's little things that make a big difference.
Right.
And like I taught online before, but nobody ever told me Blackboard had all that stuff. Now you send out the announcements, I know, but I agree. I think there should be at least an iteration, and maybe what it is, it's the directors who are in charge of the online programs. You could get them to buy in, then it can trickle down to the people that then they can say, okay, we need to make sure we have consistency across the board. So if you can get target to the directors, and it depends on if the director's good or not, has buy-in, but maybe you don't have a choice, but that's the best way to go. I agree. I think a version. It's not everybody has the time, right, to do the whole thing.
And if we look at it as a university issue of being up to date, of being modern, of being able to have recruitment and retention, that if you don't pay attention to this kind of strategy, then people are going to not come.
You got to be competitive, which is part of the issue.
It is. Exactly. I'm thinking of our grad program in the college business. I don't know how much because we've gone to primarily on MBA, online, right? Only online, yeah.
Well, and that's the way of the world. That's higher education. Whether we like it or not.
The only thing that I would say if I was a student, I love your lack of clicks. So I look at all of mine, I'm like step 1, step 2. I feel like I'm babying them, but mine are undergrads, and so I feel like I'm babying them more. Right,
and I was thinking about that when you did it. And I don't think it's babying. I think what it's doing is laying out the expectation.
Right. And plus, for me, it's a curricular thing. Like, I want you to read the chapter first. Like, because in class, I could say, okay, read the chapter first, and then take the quiz, and then listen to the lectures. But I think where you have the syllabus tab, I think you have so much more in there than that. Not that you have to list all of it, but like the reading list is really important. And I would be like, where's the reading list? So I wonder if you could just like syllabus and reading list or something, because you've got some really awesome stuff in that syllabus tab, and I don't know if I would know it's there. Although you might have a video or something that tells me that's there.
They'll be in the welcome. It's in the welcome here. Yeah, and start here, because when you think about it, this is very deceptive.
It is. This is like, wow, this is simple.
This looks real simple.
And then you click on module 1, and you're like, no.
And then click on B. And then click on C.
And you are already behind. Mine is. Yeah. I mean, mine's by week, but it looks. I mean, so then I have like 10 weeks, 7 weeks.
Right. And I've done that before, but we've got that actually within the module.
Yeah, you got that.
It's got week 1.
Right.
And what's funny is both of your target audiences, like, because you developed your course for the BPS.
Yeah.
You can assume that there might be some students there who have been.
Oh, I'm assuming they don't know.
Right.
I'd rather assume that than assume the other way.
Right. And so having the steps there, but it's still an undergrad class.
Right.
Whereas yours is still a graduate level class.
But you're early, but they're early on.
And then it's like what we did with the wiki. You're looking at the wiki, I'm looking at the wiki, and then I'm going, I don't think that anybody knows from looking at this what the next step is. I was looking at it through a student's eyes. So we changed it so that when you click on this is what you need to do next. Because that's been one of my key complaints about anything online is, okay, well, how are you supposed to know? What do you click next? How are you supposed to know? Because it doesn't tell you.
I love your takeaway idea. I've never done that. That's a great idea. That's a good idea in the CETA class.
Yeah. Well, I have to tell you that one of the things, I think one of the best things has been that whole course mapping. Because I'm a great one for, okay, you learn this, and learn this, so what? What does it mean? Where does it go to? And that takeaway actually that particular mechanism is a way that corresponds with my teaching philosophy, because I believe that I am a coach and a facilitator. My students come with experience, with what they know and so forth. I'm going to give them more, but I expect them to be the active learner. I already know it. They need to get it. So that takeaway will give some really good evaluation.
And also, too, what the takeaways do, too, in the way that Beth has them set up is go back to the learning objective.
Yeah.
So go back to there. The learning objective was to describe this. Can you?
Right.
No. Prove to me.
Right.
So it's right, closing that loop.